All right, Steelers Nation, let's dive into this with the energy of a packed Acrisure Stadium on Sunday night. But before we get into today's exclusive update, let me remind you, our Pittsburgh Steelers are doing everything they can to keep improving week after week. They're battling through injuries, working on weaknesses, and grinding to bring those results we all want to see. So if you bleed black and gold like I do, hit that like button right now to support the channel. It helps us keep bringing you daily Steelers news and insights. Now, let's talk about the story that has Steelers Nation buzzing. The defense is battered, the run game is sputtering, but there's finally some good news. Rookie first-round pick Derek Harmon returned to practice for the first time since suffering his knee injury. And let me tell you, this is massive for Pittsburgh. Through just 2 weeks, the Steelers' defense has been bruised and tested at every level. We've got Joey Porter Jr. dealing with nagging issues, Deshaun Elliott banged up, and even veterans like Patrick Queen and Darius Slay trying to push through injuries. Mike Tomlin came out Tuesday and gave us the rundown. Isaiah Loudermilk is out week to week with a high ankle sprain. Alex Highsmith has a less serious ankle sprain but will still miss time. And Queen and Slay are both managing injuries that could affect their availability on Sunday. That's a lot of key players. And as Tomlin said, this is football. It happens. You have to adapt, you have to adjust, and you have to find the right mix of guys who can step up when others go down. That's where Harmon comes in. Getting your rookie first-rounder back, even in a limited role, feels like a turning point. This kid was drafted to be a difference maker on the defensive line, and his return could be the first step towards stabilizing a defense that's been stretched thin. And let's be honest here. The defensive front hasn't looked the same without him. Peyton Wilson has been scrappy at the second level, but he's still learning, still adjusting to the speed of the NFL. Adding Harmon back into the trenches is going to take pressure off everyone else and help Pittsburgh regain that physical edge we're used to seeing. But Steelers Nation, it's not just the defense that has us concerned. It's the run game too. And if we're being real, this might be the bigger long-term issue. When Arthur Smith came in as offensive coordinator, the expectation was simple. Run the ball, control the line of scrimmage, and build the offense around a physical ground attack. We thought Najee Harris and Jaylen Warren would be a thunder and lightning duo. Instead, Najee Harris walked in free agency. He's now with the Chargers, and Jaylen Warren became the guy. The Steelers tried to rebuild the backfield with rookie Caleb Johnson and veteran Kenneth Gainwell alongside Warren. On paper, that looks solid. In reality, not so much. Through 2 games, Pittsburgh has just 125 rushing yards total. That's not Steelers football, and it's not good enough to win consistently. Mike Tomlin was very clear when he spoke about it on Tuesday. He praised Jaylen Warren, saying he came to play in week 2, winning one-on-ones, making defenders miss, running with good pad level. But here's the problem. One guy can't carry the entire rushing attack. Tomlin said it himself. There's a lack of cohesion, a lack of rhythm, and it's slowing everything down. This is classic football stuff. One missed block, one bad communication at the line, one guy not hitting his assignment, and the whole play falls apart. That's exactly what's been happening. Instead of the punishing, downhill run game Arthur Smith promised, we've been watching drives stall out because the unit isn't working together. And when you think about Steelers history, Jerome Bettis, Franco Harris, Le'Veon Bell, this franchise has always been at its best with a strong run game setting the tone. Right now, that identity is missing. Now, what about Kenneth Gainwell and Caleb Johnson? Gainwell has been given opportunities, but he hasn't provided that spark. Johnson, meanwhile, has barely seen the field. And to make matters worse, he muffed a special teams play in week 2, which is not how you earn trust from the coaching staff. Fans wanted to see Johnson get involved in the offense, but at this point, it looks like he's on the outside looking in. So what's next? Likely, the Steelers lean heavily on Jaylen Warren, with Gainwell mixing in. Johnson might need to wait for a shot unless injuries force Tomlin's hand. But the bottom line is this. Pittsburgh needs to fix the offensive line execution if the running game is ever going to get going. It doesn't matter how talented the backs are. If the line isn't in sync, the run game will sputter. Now let's get into it. The Pittsburgh Steelers came out firing in week 1. The offense looked sharp. Aaron Rodgers showed command, and fans felt like this season could be something special. But then came the home opener against the Seattle Seahawks, and reality hit hard. Seattle left Acrisure Stadium with a convincing win. Rodgers tossed 2 interceptions, and while the offense struggled at times, the real problem was the defense. 2 games into the season, one theme is already clear. The defense hasn't looked like a Mike Tomlin defense, and that's concerning because Tomlin is known around the league as one of the best defensive minds. If his unit is faltering, it raises serious questions about how quickly the Steelers can correct course. And at the center of that conversation is none other than T.J. Watt. Let's be real. Watt hasn't been himself, at least not on the stat sheet. The reigning face of the Steelers defense, a former Defensive Player of the Year, and the all-time franchise sack leader hasn't recorded a sack in his last 6 games, stretching back to the tail end of 2024. That's shocking when you think about how dominant he's been throughout his career. But here's the truth. Watt is still doing his job. It just doesn't always show up in the box score. Opposing teams are throwing the kitchen sink at him. Double teams, chips from tight ends, running backs assigned to hit him off the edge. You name it, Watt is dealing with it. And if you're an offensive coordinator game planning against Pittsburgh, your first line on the whiteboard says, neutralize number 90. That brings us to an important voice who weighed in this week. Legendary Steelers quarterback and future Hall of Famer Ben Roethlisberger. On his Footballin' podcast, Big Ben gave his honest take on Watt's situation, and he didn't hold back. He said, Watt is doing everything humanly possible. TJ is doing everything he can. He's a stud. He is doing his job. We just got to get more from the other guys. Like Coach would always say, I need my A players playing A. I need the other guys to step up because the A players are going to play A. TJ is playing A. Where are the other guys? That's vintage Roethlisberger right there. Direct, passionate, and spot on. Watt is holding up his end of the bargain. He's fighting through double and triple teams, still commanding attention, still disrupting plays, even if the stats don't show it. The problem is what's happening around him, or rather, what's not happening.
Other defenders aren't consistently winning their matchups, and when that happens, opposing offenses has zero incentive to let Watt breathe. Why give him one-on-one chances when the rest of the front isn't making you pay? This is where things get complicated. Watt signed a new contract this offseason, keeping him in Pittsburgh as the highest-paid defensive player in franchise history. Fans naturally expect production. They want sacks, they want splash plays, they want game-wrecking dominance. And while Watt is still capable of all of that, football is a team game. Even the best edge rushers need help. For years, Watt and Alex Highsmith have fed off one another. When Highsmith wins off the opposite edge, Watt gets more chances. When Watt commands the double team, Highsmith cashes in. That's the chemistry that has made Pittsburgh's pass rush so dangerous. But here's the bad news. Highsmith is hurt. He's expected to miss some time, and that's going to make Watt's life even more difficult. With Nick Herbig filling in, the pressure is on the younger defenders to step up. If they don't, Watt is going to keep seeing 2 or 3 bodies in his face every single play. Now, let's zoom out. Through 2 weeks of the 2025 season, Pittsburgh's defense has shown flashes, but far too many breakdowns. Missed assignments, lack of consistent pressure, and struggles in coverage have all contributed to the rough start. And while it's easy to point fingers at Watt's lack of sacks, the reality is that the defense's problems go much deeper. Roethlisberger's comments should be taken as both a defense of Watt and a challenge to the rest of the team. If the other players on this defense don't start winning their battles, nothing is going to change. Watt will keep drawing all the attention, and the Steelers will keep losing the pass rush war. And make no mistake, this matters. Pittsburgh's identity for decades has been built on defense. From the Steel Curtain to Blitzburgh to the modern Watt era, fans expect this unit to dominate. When the defense isn't making splash plays, it affects the entire team. The offense presses more, Rodgers feels like he has to take chances, and suddenly you're staring at a 2-game losing streak to start the year. So, to sum it all up, Steelers Nation, we've got 2 big storylines colliding right now. On one hand, the defense is getting a boost with Derek Harmon's return, which could not come at a better time. On the other, the run game is stuck in the mud, and unless the offensive line figures it out, this offense is going to struggle to stay balanced. The good news? It's only week 3. There's time to fix these things. And if there's one thing we know about Mike Tomlin, it's that he doesn't panic. He adapts, he finds solutions, and with Harmon back, maybe the defense can stabilize while the offense works out its kinks. But let's open it up to you guys. Steelers Nation, I want to hear from you in the comments. Do you think Derek Harmon's return can be the key to getting this defense back on track? And what's your confidence level in the run game improving? Do you think Jaylen Warren can carry the load, or do the Steelers need to shake things up at running back? Drop your thoughts below. I'll be reading through and featuring some of the best takes in our next video. And hey, before you go, don't forget to smash that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and turn on notifications so you never miss an update. This is going to be a long season, and we're in it together. Let's keep riding with our Steelers, because black and gold never fold. That's it for today, Steelers family. Until next time, here we go.